All right, let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, because coming into this season, they sort of were the NFL's version of the Miami Heat. They were bringing in the star free agents. You know, Vince Young came in, and Nnamdi Asomugha's there. There were other pieces added, and Vince Young, famously now, has said it's like the dream team. Chris, does this remind you at all of what happened in Miami last year? Does it remind you of the Heat?
Yes and no. I mean, they didn't come together in the fashion that we did, and they kind of didn't have the microscope that we had. But I think if you look at their roster from top to bottom and you kind of evaluate their talent on paper, they look like the best team in the league, hands down. And when you have that accumulation of talent, you know, Mike Vick signs a new deal. That's your starting quarterback. How is he going to be with a full season, you know, under his belt? I think there's a lot of expectations, and the first thing people say is Super Bowl, you know, and that's something they're going to have to play with.
What advice would you give them, having to wear that hat that you had to wear going into last season?
The advice I always take, don't get too high or too low.
Okay.
You know, when you win one, okay, we did our job. If you lose, we got to correct our mistakes, because, I mean, it's all about just staying steady and staying that way until the season is over, whether you win your last game or lose it.
Well, here's where I would disagree. Admittedly, I think that in you guys' case, a lot of the microscope was self-created. Now, when you came out the box with the smoke and the not one, not two,
that was cool, man. I mean, I liked it. I don't care.
People jumped on you for that.
You would do it all over again?
You would do it just like that?
Over again.
Because that seems to be the main focal point of all the criticism of this team, was you guys were celebrating before you ever played together.
Well, I mean, it was for the Heat fans. And it's not like we got together and was like, okay, look, we're going to come up from behind the stage, right?
So that whole thing just happened? There was no choreo? I mean, that's just the way it unfolded?
No, it just happened. We got to the gym and it was there. And, you know, the Miami Heat fans were there. The city was on fire at the time.
And you do it all over again?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. It's a memory. I'll never forget it.
Yeah?
That was like a memorable day for me, you know, just from top to bottom. It was
interesting.
A great day.
It still created whether...
Yeah, I mean,
it still created a particular microscope.
You
put the target on your back.
The target was going to be there. You know, that's the thing about, you know, having a target is that, and you know, to the Eagles, and this is one thing I would say, you have to attack it with urgency. Don't be too high or too low, but come out the gate swinging.
Did you feel you guys did that or no?
We could have done a better job, but I mean, it's different in basketball. It's just
you have 82 games, and in the NFL, the last thing you want to do when you're the favorite is lose the opener.
Yeah, we were still trying to figure out chemistry and everything, and it was so tough because, you know, everybody's giving us their best game. They've been together for years, and we're on the court with the shot clock winding down, trying to figure out, okay, how do we do this? Or, you know, we do this play, or he doesn't like this. You know, it's very difficult.
Now for the voice of reason.
Of course. You notice he waited to go last.
I don't think there's remote comparison between the Heatles and the Heagles, if we will, right?
Well, you will.
Look, the Philadelphia Eagles didn't sign a former MVP in a LeBron James. And that former MVP didn't join who I consider the best player in pro basketball to this day, Dwayne Wade. And they didn't add to that mix a perennial all-star, maybe the best player at his position, one of the best players at his position in Chris Bosh.
I don't know.
I don't get. Okay, Michael Vick was already there.
Nnamdi's considered one of the best at his position.
What did you see Sunday night?
No, I know.
Nnamdi is not in Revis's league.
He or was he not considered one of the best at his position?
He's not the best at his position.
I didn't ask if he was the best.
But he's considered
one of the best.
Top three?
And Mike Vick would be an MVP candidate.
When they picked him up, everybody was like, ooh.
Everybody. And now Skip has always said that he's one A to Revis, and that's fair.
I don't think the comparison
Jason Babin, journeyman defensive end. Cullen Jenkins was one of the least known Green Bay Packers last year. Are you kidding me?
Those guys are pieces, just like the Heat brought in other pieces.
Okay, but where is it? The best player the Eagles signed is now the backup quarterback. He didn't even get to play. Vince Young. That's just
me. You think he's better than Michael Vick?
Okay, that's a big piece. That's a big piece. That's just me.
So they get Vince Young, you think it's better than Mike Vick, and they get Nnamdi.
That team wasn't overhyped. That team should have won the NBA Finals. That's how good that team was. You know it, and I know it. You were the favorite by the odds makers going in. I picked you. A lot of people picked you. The Eagles are way overhyped for what they really are. They're still not that much better than they were last year. They still have issues in their front seven on defense. They have issues in their offensive line. you guys didn't have that many issues.
Well, I think they can have issues, but I think more so what it's about is the expectation. I think you can have issues. Every team's going to have issues, but, like, it's about what do people that don't understand those issues, what do they think is going to happen? So who's your Super Bowl picks? The Eagles. That's what people say, right, mostly off the bat. And I think
a lot of people.
Whether they're the same as last year or better, they're still going to have to deal with those expectations.
My biggest problem was I thought that Vince Young's comment, the Dream Team comment, was totally taken out of context.
It was ironic he is the backup quarterback.
Yeah,
He's the one
that's what I'm saying. I mean, and at least one thing is when they came out and they did the show early on before the season started, it was their 3 main guys who did it. Now, I think that he basically got a lot of the backlash that was created by LeBron and him doing the decision, and everybody, that all spilled over, and now that spilled over to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's like they're catching the flack that you guys caught just because they created that drama. And people definitely don't despise the Eagles the way they despise the Miami Heat.
That's very
They
fair.
definitely don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably would be the most hated team in sports. Probably so.
Yeah.
Well, I'm picking the Miami Heat to win it all next year.
Cool, all right, we agree on something.
We thought you